when what kills me about government is that the private sector, the free market, individual Canadians or people in general around the world, they apply their intelligence to a problem. They come up with a solution, or a solution kind of evolves or emerges. And then government looks at that and says, well, now we need to regulate it, or now we need to tax it, or now we need to replicate it. So, we have the internet, we have things like social media platforms, pros and cons to having hyper connectivity and people being able to speak. And then the government comes and looks and says, well, now we need to regulate it. Now we need to have a whole bunch of things. And they never seem to look at how the innovation happens and understand how to replicate the conditions. They always try to say, well, if we fund the right company, if we give the right company a bunch of cash, then that company will be able to do this, and then we'll have that innovation. And it's never happened that way. TVs, for example, in the year I was born, 1979, a brand new top of the line TV would cost you about the same as 2 weeks. It was about the same as 2 weeks average salary for the average worker in Canada. So it would take, it would take 2 weeks to, 2 months, I think it was. I've double check my math on this because I haven't used this proof point in a while. But the point is, it took a while to save up to buy a brand new TV. Now we look at a brand new TV, orders of magnitude better, like flat screen, ultra 4K. You can connect all kinds of things to it. I can stream stuff from my smartphone onto my TV. It is massively a better product for relatively, either, depending on the model, you can get them for a few days' wages now. The average worker could work for 4 or 5 days and pick up what he would have to work for 2 months for, and get a much better product. None of that happened because of a government department. None of that happened because there was a minister of technology,
of cool TVs,
of cool TVs, who said, how can we have a better? None of that happened because of that. What happened was competition. You had certain manufacturers of television wanted to offer a better product than others, so they came up with the remote, or they came up with a way to have a better picture, or they had, and by doing that forced the other companies to say, okay, well, they just came up with a remote, we better have a better remote, or an easier to use a remote, or
people seem to like this.
Whatever. And then over time, that competition produces a much better product at a much better price, and we all benefit from that, and that's the part of our the Conservative Party's free market principles that is so frustrating, that the mainstream media, that the other political parties just, they ignore. Because it's not like this is theoretical, Jamie. It's not like we're sitting in a poli-sci class 101 or an economics class and we're having a theoretical, esoteric conversation about what might work or what might not work. The empirical evidence, looking back at every point in time, is when you have free market principles, you have plenty, you have growth, you have higher standards of living. When you have government control, government intervention, and socialism, you have misery. It's everywhere. It's been tried. It's been proven to be true. So it's like, it's frustrating that
the next time it'll be right. We'll get it right the next time. That wasn't, it was just the wrong people. The super smart people weren't in charge.
Well, you must have heard this a lot too. How many times have you heard from really, radical left-wing people who now more and more are members of the Liberal Party of Canada? But they'd say, communism works. Yes. It just hasn't worked in practice. It works in theory, but it just doesn't work in practice. Well, I know of no other theory that, when tested, fails, still gets to call itself a theory. If Einstein had a theory of relativity that every time it was tried failed, well, we wouldn't be talking about it 100 years later. It would just be relegated to the footnotes of scientific history.